I used to care so much about male validation that it impacted me more than what I thought about myself. But learning how to decenter men has actually given me so much of my self esteem and my body confidence back and allowed me to be happy single, be comfortable spending time alone, but also to date and have friendships with men that are so much healthier than what I used to have in my life. So I wanted to share a couple ways for how you actually decenter men because I hear it a lot and I don't hear people explain it. This sounds great conceptually, but you want a little bit more help with it. There's always a consultation link for booking a free 30-minute consultation with me in the description of the video. Make sure you click that. For context, I spent about a year in this process without even realizing it. I had 10 and a half months of celibacy because of it, which is another video on my page. And I also unlearned my hatred and my fear for men in this process as well, which I have another video on my channel about. But I'm going to give you the 3 main ways that I learned to decenter men that boosted my body confidence and my self-esteem, made me more comfortable with who I am and spending time with myself, and then also improved my friendships and my dating life as a result. So the first thing that was so helpful for me was not focusing on cutting men or the male gaze or patriarchy out of my life, like cutting it out and being like, I need to not care about this anymore. I need to not think about this. I need to not be influenced about it or by it. It was crowding it out. And so the way that this works, and I teach this with my coaching clients in a lot of different ways. You can apply this to the male gaze and male opinions. You can apply this to like dieting. You can apply it to negative self-talk, anything that you want to change in your mindsets and your habits. I recommend crowding out instead of cutting out. So cutting out often makes us over focus on the thing that we're actually trying to get rid of, and therefore makes it more on our mind than previously. It also generates a lot of negative self-talk because this process of decentering men or cutting out any negative behavior or thought pattern you want to change, it takes time and it takes a lot of self-compassion. When you crowd out, instead of trying to just get rid of this stuff, you just fill your life with other things that are more beneficial for you. And by default, you end up having less and less centering of men or the male gaze or caring about men or focusing on men in your life. And I really just recommend filling your life with as much stuff for yourself or in celebration of femininity or womanhood or whatever that means to you, in celebration of yourself as you can, whether that's like taking yourself on dates or doing self-care or just really showing up for yourself and slowly making more and more decisions that are focused on you. Because the reason that you're doing this is not to say like F men, even if that's how it feels a lot of times. That actually doesn't feel great to have this hatred or this resentment that you're carrying. Not that it's not deserved in a lot of ways, but again, just doesn't feel great, right? So instead of focusing so much on them or patriarchy, focus on you and crowd out the other stuff by just adding as much as you can things that benefit you, time with yourself, time with people who make you feel good. Center yourself and therefore inadvertently de-center men. The second thing that I think is really valuable and is actually so simple, but I don't hear about it talked about enough, is do a little bit of research just to have more context of like companies that are run by women, clothing brands that are run by women, or support women like authentically. And then also like modern technology or medicine or history or innovations that were piloted by or just like heavily influenced by women. And I think that this is so valuable in decentering men for 2 reasons. Number one, our world is a patriarchy and it centers men. It's not just you, it's the society we live in. So you're moving the needle, you are recentering to at least be a little bit more equal in your own mind by remembering that half of our population is women, but we are not recognized as at least half of the effort. So you change your social perspective. The other reason that that's really helpful for you is because it brings back positivity into your perspective. Like living in a patriarchy is oppressive, it is exhausting, and it's pretty defeating. It's pretty deflating. And so, again, we don't really want to necessarily go with the like F men energy because it doesn't feel good for ourselves, even if it's fair enough based on what you've been through. If you want to bring some positivity, some hope, some joy back into your life and not let patriarchy take that away from you, then celebrate women and understand just how much of an influence we have had on this world. The third thing that really helped me, which is so tiny when I was decentering men, and it really boosted not just my self-esteem and my body confidence, but my connection to like who I am and my appreciation for myself, is to start doing more things that you did when you were a kid. And the reason that this works is because we have centered men in our society and in our lives for so long that we forget that there's another option. And so when you start doing more things that you did before you cared so much about the male gaze or male approval, you remind yourself that there's a version of you that existed that didn't care about those things, because the whole purpose is getting back to that, right? Decentering men, trying to be someone who doesn't center men in your life, is not building a new version of yourself. It's going back to a version of yourself that has already existed. It was just a lot younger of a version of you. So this doesn't need to be like a big thing. It doesn't need to be, I don't know, like going back to big places you went when you were a kid, like taking the same trips or having the same mindset or going back to your elementary school. Like, it doesn't have to be literally putting yourself back in the exact same environment, but like make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or eat a hot dog if that's what you always used to have in the summers as a kid. Go climb a freaking tree. Paint your own nails like a really girly pink, not because it's really girly, but just because like that's what I used to do when I was a kid. Watch old TV shows, play old computer games. It doesn't have to be actively opposing patriarchy or the male gaze or male influence when you're doing it. Again, we are centering you in this process and therefore remembering a part of you that you want to come closer to. So if you're going to implement this on a daily perspective, all three of these things, again, focus on not cutting out, but crowding out. Start just doing more and more things for yourself if you can. And then start doing little things that you used to love to do as a kid. And then as you go throughout your day and you use like hairbrushes or shampoo or kitchen utensils, like all of the little things you kind of interact with as like an object in your day, get curious about where that comes from. When you go to certain stores, get curious about who runs them. I'm not saying boycott anything run by men or influenced by patriarchy, because we want to be realistic, right? But again, crowding out the male gaze, the male influence, by adding in more things that are powered by women, invented by women, supported by women, and support women will help you do that. And when you do all of these things step by step, day by day, your self-esteem gets better, your hope for the future and for the world we live in gets better, your body confidence gets better because the male gaze is constantly telling us that women's bodies are never good enough. You become more aware of how the world works and you become more aware of just how powerful you are. So doing this changed so much for me. Again, it ignited that celibacy streak that I've now broken and feel really good about. There's a video on me breaking that on my channel. And this is what I help clients do all the time. Most of my clients as a life coach who helps people with strong body image and strong self-confidence is teaching you how to do these things day by day. So if this sounds great conceptually, but you want a little bit more help with it, there's always a consultation link for booking a free 30-minute consultation with me in the description of the video. Make sure you click that. I hope this helped. Good luck on your journey. Leave a comment on what you're going to do next and what you're excited about and what helped you in this video, because it's so helpful for me to hear it. I'm Sarah. I love you. I'll see you next time.